Evening. Baikan Farmers Market, Baikan District, Jianghai City. Li Jing walked through the road to the deepest part of the market and turned straight into a chicken shop. Do not misunderstand. This chicken shop is very serious. Sell chicken. In front of the chicken shop counter, a beautiful and enchanting woman is lying on the counter lazily. Seeing someone come in suddenly, the woman quickly raised her eyes. Seeing that the person was Li Jing, she immediately lost interest and went back. What? I thought it was a visitor. The feeling is that you, Li Tianwang, who eats rice, came to work. Li Jing heard this and took a meal. Sister Sisi, I don't like to hear what you say. Why did I eat plain rice? I came to you to work for 3 months, and I got the minimum wage in Jianghai City. I did all the hard work for you, in the shop. I'll kill all of your chickens, so how can someone else be willing to work hard for this salary? Ah! Lu Sisi rolled his eyes. Your kid comes to work every day with a pinch of food on time, and you come to me for a meal on time, not sooner or later. Don't you eat more than your salary? When I first came to apply for the job, the work meal you said was employee welfare. Li Jing replied with a roll of eyes, entered the door without letting the topic stop, and asked a sentence. Business is not good today. Don't mention it, there has been no business all day, and I don't know if it can open at night. Lu Sisi sighed lightly and waved his hand. Since you are here, go to the back kitchen to kill a chicken and wait for me to cook. Li Jing nodded. Into the back kitchen. Li Jing looked at dozens of old hens roaring vigorously in the chicken coop, his eyes as if he was looking at a lover. It's not that he has a special hobby. But these chickens, not simple. These in the cage are all spirit-injected alien species, spirit chickens cultivated through the aura of heaven and earth by special means. Ling chicken is a high-end product among poultry, the meat is delicious and extremely nourishing. 1. It costs 50,000 yuan. Lu Sisi said that he was eating plain rice, and it was these chickens that he was distressed. But for Li Jing, the price of these chickens is not the point. The point is that in his eyes, a red blood bar is suspended on the head of every chicken in the chicken coop, which is marked with a value ranging from 5 to 11 points. Looking at the blood bar on his head, the blood bar marked 11 chickens and grabbed him. Li Jing felt emotional. Unknowingly, it has been 3 months since I came to this world. It's not difficult to accept this kind of thing, to be honest. Living in the 21st century, who is all right without reading novels and comics? The difficulty is that at first I couldn't adapt to a completely different life. He is now in a world where individuals cultivate immortality, and the cultivation of immortality goes deep into his life. In addition to the most basic water resources, electricity, oil, gas, etc. have all been eliminated. The phone charge is not electricity, it's aura. Driving to burn is not oil, but aura. Even the stove is relying on Reiki. Almost all modern products related to life are driven by people's own aura to achieve self-sufficiency. While being extremely environmentally friendly, it is doomed that it is difficult for an outsider to live without aura. Li Jing was a purely ordinary person when he first came. How can there be any aura? In a world where even mobile phones need to be recharged, he is no different from a primitive man. No relatives, no money in his pocket. In addition, I don't know how to practice, and I don't have aura in my body. It's hard to find a place to live. If he were not clever enough, he ran to the farmer's market immediately after clarifying the situation, and Lu Sisi's shop just happened to be a killer. Not only would he live on the street, he might even starve to death on the street. Fortunately, the most difficult period has passed. Thinking about it now, everything seems to be destined. Was able to see Lingji in Lu Sisi's shop, and he realized that as a traverser, his affair had already arrived. Walking to the pool, Li Jing took the kitchen knife and dropped the knife in his hand, and cleanly wiped the neck of the chicken in his hand. Puff! The blood is flowing like a note. In an instant, the blood bar on the top of Lingji's head was cleared, and the value returned to 0. Then, Li Jing's ears sounded an unemotional female voice that resembled electronically synthesized sounds. Experience plus 11. Hearing the female voice, he couldn't help but glance at the shivering old hens left in the chicken coop. From the time he started killing the first chicken 3 months ago, he had already made it clear. His system needs to kill things that can see the health bar to get the same amount of experience points. Blood bars, not everywhere. At least so far, Li Jing has only seen it on the head of a chicken in Lu Sisi's shop. Given that only Lu Sisi in the farmer's market sells psychic aliens, he bought an ordinary old hen for testing. The result proved that you cannot gain experience points without seeing the health bar. Is in Li Jing's eyes at this moment. These chickens in the chicken coop are not chickens, but one experience after another plus. It's a pity that these chickens can't be killed. He can't move at least until a customer comes to buy it. After the death of Lingji, the aura will dissipate over time. Refrigeration does not solve the problem. Because of this, it's a fresh chicken. During the day when he is away, Lu Sisi sells directly. If he doesn't care about these spirit chickens, Lu Sisi should look for him desperately. In the chicken coop, but millions. The spirit chicken whose neck had been wiped was pressed on the side of the pool for bleeding. Li Jing thought for a moment, and a transparent panel appeared in front of him. Host, Li Jing experience value, 132/210 level, 5 spiritual power intensity, 22 equipment, none passive skills, none active skills, none a transparent panel shaped like a game status bar, which is concise and clear. There are 3 items of equipment and passive active skills at the bottom of the status bar. Li Jing is not sure how to make changes for the time being. What he has figured out is, as the level of harvested experience increases, the strength of spiritual power will increase in the form of twice the level. 1 level, increase the intensity by 2 points. Level 2, the strength increased by 4 points. And so on. As the strength of the spiritual power increases, the spiritual power in his body will grow stronger. It is worth mentioning that his spiritual power is very different from the spiritual qi cultivated by people in this world. Reiki is the invisible and colorless qi. I can feel it, but I can't see it. Can only be instilled into objects that can hold aura, or released by constructing spells. The spiritual power in Li Jing's body is liquid energy that can be internally viewed or even directly released, and can be attached to anything to increase its external strength. Not only that, spiritual power can be used as aura in daily life, and the efficiency is ridiculously high. Take a mobile phone as an example. It takes 15 minutes for a normal person to charge up a mobile phone. Li Jing can fill it with just one thought. This world cultivates immortals. There are 1 to 10 realms divided. Each big realm has 3 smaller realms, primary, middle, and last. But when using some of the more sophisticated small devices, there is no difference in level. Things like mobile phones rely on Reiki batteries to run. Reiki battery is the same as Li Jing's rechargeable battery in his previous life. There are rated standards. No matter how high your realm is, you can only deliver Reiki little by little according to the standard, otherwise you may blow up the Reiki battery. Whether he can charge the Reiki battery, Li Jing doesn't know. After all, it's full of pop. I can't recharge it, he didn't have a chance and didn't want to try. He is here in Lu Sisi, and only has a salary of 2,500 yuan a month. The rent and water and electricity alone have to be cut off for 1,005. There is 1,000 left as daily expenses. He has tightened his belt for 3 months. If I can save it, I can save it. I finally got 800 yuan and bought a low-end rice machine. Is going to blow up the phone to play, he must not feel distressed? It is enough to make sure that the superiority of spiritual power in charging efficiency is obvious. Others, I'll talk about it later. He hasn't even learned the skills of the 8 classics, so he has to save money. Is in Li Jing's understanding. The passive and active skills on the panel should be spells and the like. If you want to learn spells, you can go to the Fairy Academy. But he can't afford the high tuition, and full-time colleges are not suitable for him. There is only one way to learn spells. Through various online Xiangxia websites, research by yourself. There is a charge for learning spells on the Xiangxia website, otherwise you can only see one name. And different spells charge different standards. The cheapest is at least 5,000 oceans, which he can't afford at the moment. After putting out the blood of the Lingji in his hand, Li Jing put a pot of hot water in a hot bath, and wondered whether to find another job. Lu Sisi, as long as he comes to help in the evening, he doesn't use it during the day. Even if life was unstable before, now that it is stable, he consciously needs to consider it. Experience gain, but second. Li Jing does not expect to find another high-end agricultural product store helper with spirited livestock. The key is to have a high salary. As the saying goes, money is not all powerful. But without money, it is absolutely impossible. Not just to learn skills, Li Jing wants to change to a better rental house. The soundproofing effect of the ruined rental house he now rents is extremely poor. At night, I always hear some weird sounds disturbing my dreams, and it's hard to sleep well. What do you say? I can only say that the one who cultivates immortality is different. Energetic. As a 21-year-old young man of sound mind, Li Jing said he couldn't bear it. Was pondering, there was a sudden loud bang outside, and countless exclamations rang out. Li Jing was taken aback and turned his head blankly. What's going on? Whose Reiki canister exploded? Hurriedly walked out of the back kitchen, he just saw Lu Sisi retreating from the store door with a pale expression, quickly closed the store door, waved his hand and took out a piece of talisman paper from his waist to stick it on the glass door. Then, the transparent glass door of the shop was covered with a thick layer of white light. First order curing symbol. One piece of 300,000. Li Jing's heart twitched. Just about to ask a question, Lu Sisi turned around 3 steps and walked to him in 2 steps. There was a soil suddenly demonized outside. Several people were pecked to death. Don't panic, the people from the inspection department should receive the report soon. The farmer's market is so big, the chicken may not come to us. Just after speaking, a big blood-colored rooster with flapping wings and full of blood appeared outside the door. Suddenly saw the big cock, Lu Sisi couldn't help but screamed. I didn't know who was chasing before, but the big who was going to run past the door was successfully attracted by this scream. After a pause, he turned his head and looked into the shop. Lu Sisi's face turned pale on the spot. Li Jing was also surprised. The so-called demonization is the occasional event in which the beasts of this world feel the aura of the heavens and the earth, and are able to unlock their wisdom to step into the practice incarnation of monsters. The probability of occurrence is extremely low, even lower than the probability of winning the lottery. Li Jing came to this world for 3 months and only saw relevant events in the online news. I never thought I would see it with my own eyes today. The situation in front of me is not so bad. Domestic pets and wild beasts that are not in contact with people in the wild usually do not become evil to people as soon as they are demonized. But in a place like a farmer's market, once demonization occurs, it will be a disaster. After all, here are all livestock that people regard as food for sale. Has opened up Lingzi, how can I not hate it? Just like the big demonized in front of me. Who knew how many times the butcher knife almost fell on its head? Who knew how many wives of it were slaughtered and sold, and how many children of it were made into tea eggs? It's so hard to die, Lu Sisi still sells old hens here. There was a chuckle from the kitchen after this meeting. Secretly gritted his teeth, Li Jing stepped forward, blocking Lu Sisi behind him. At this time, men must stand in front. What makes Li Jing so moving is, he saw a long blood bar on the head of the demonized outside the store, which was marked with 574. 574. If you can kill, it is 574 experience points. Is equivalent to nearly 57 blood bars longer than 10 chickens. Lu Sisi saw Li Jing approaching, thinking that he wanted to rush out, so he hurriedly reached out and held him. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Li Jing. Don't be impulsive. Demonized monsters cannot be dealt with by ordinary people like us. Li Jing was about to say that I was not impulsive, and Lu Sisi said in a steady tone like an old dog. Don't worry, the curing talisman in my hand was prepared for this unexpected situation. At any rate, it is a thing of hundreds of thousands. This big has just been demonized and died in the middle of the first stage, and it will definitely not be broken. Li Jing twitched the corner of his mouth. Talk back to talk. Lu Sisi, the flag is planted. Is like piercing them to death together. The key is that she just inserted one and it came true, so she didn't rush to insert the other. At this time, shouldn't you just shut up and don't say anything? What do you say? What are you afraid of? The demonized big outside the door suddenly raised his head and hissed. His head suddenly pecked on the glass door. Boom! The glass door, blessed by the curing amulet, withstood it. But the wall beside the door didn't stand up. Cracked. Seeing the cracks on the walls on both sides of the store door and the tilt of the glass door, Lu Sisi's face turned white at that time. Li Jing almost couldn't resist scolding his mother. He wanted to turn his head and say the last sentence. Big sister. Why did you only strengthen the door and not the wall together? Without thinking about it, Li Jing hurriedly pulled Lu Sisi back to the kitchen. You stay in the back kitchen, don't run around, I will try to deal with it outside. Without waiting for Lu Sisi's response, he returned to the store with the kitchen knife that usually kills chickens without saying anything. At the same time, there was another bang in front of the store. Glass door, completely dumped. Seeing that the glass door fell over, Li Jing stopped quickly, then raised his eyebrows. Lu Sisi's curing symbol is not completely useless. At least the glass door is strong enough, even if it falls over, there is no crack at all. After fell, the glass door was placed on the counter in the store at an angle of 45 degrees. This seems to be available. The arm shook, and the liquid spiritual power emerged and merged into the kitchen knife in Li Jing's hand. Spiritual power is attached, and the blade of the kitchen knife flashes with an astonishing cold light. Facing the demonized demon chicken that revealed a ferocious aura, Li Jing was somewhat imaginary. But he can see the blood bar, and he feels nothing to blame. I'm afraid that the health bar is bright. Outside the shop, the demon chicken saw that the glass door fell but didn't completely fall down and crossed in front of him. He chuckled and stepped on the glass door with its huge wings. Behind the fulcrum of the counter, staring at the kitchen knife in Li Jing's hand. Through demonization, it has already begun to be wise. Although I can't say how smart it is for the time being, he is already aware of the fatal danger. Li Jing saw that the demon chicken did not rush forward, and his heart moved, decisively strode forward, raised his leg and kicked the inclined surface of the glass door. Fearing that the kicking force was not enough, he blasted out the remaining spiritual energy in his body. Boom! Wow! The glass door slid out. The demon chicken just barely stopped on the glass door with its paws, and it was completely empty at the time, shocked and flapped its wings to try to fly. But it happened suddenly, it was too late to flap its wings. After being demonized, it grows to a tall, fat body, and it does not mean that it can fly by flying. Boom! The glass door slid out of the shop in a blink of an eye. The demon chicken instinctively stepped forward on the sliding glass door, but finally couldn't keep up, gurgling and leaping forward. Li Jing looked at the opportunity and stepped forward categorically. Puff! The knife light flashed, and the kitchen knife in his hand stroked the demon chicken's neck that was about to hang down because of the fall. Hot blood, sprayed like no money. The blood strip on the head of the demon chicken emptied instantly. The value returns to 0. At the same time, Li Jing's ears sounded an unsentimental female voice. Experience plus 574. Level increase, 6. Spiritual strength increase, plus 12. Raise level, 7. Increase spiritual strength, plus 14. The female voice of the broadcast sounded one after another, without emotion. It was in Li Jing's ears, but it was no less than 100 times better than his favorite X-Pei Bao delivered XX Yuan. This wave of experience gains forced him to jump one level in place. Tell him the facts. There is no future for killing the chicken. Want to kill, kill the demonized. Looked intently at the demon chicken that had died violently, Li Jing lowered his eyes and looked at the position where he had just kicked the glass door. Was just in a hurry, he didn't have time to take a closer look. He vaguely felt that he seemed to have knocked the door to pieces. Looking at it at the moment, there is a sunken and chipped footprint on the glass door. As the status bar shows the level and not the realm, he is not sure how capable he is. This will be an afterthought. I am actually quite strong. The first order curing symbol is reinforced, and it should be impossible to break below the second level. But the glass door was broken by him. Although it only left a footprint, it means that his spiritual strength is equal to the means of the second realm of immortal cultivation. In this world where everyone cultivates immortality, the second realm of immortality is nothing. But with the cultivation base of the two realms, it has been out of the category of ordinary people. Xiaoxian. Depends on qualifications. Getting started to refine qi is not difficult. However, if you want to go higher, it depends on talent. 70% of the people in this world can only stay at one level in their life due to limited talents, and have no chance of a higher level. Like Lu Sisi. Don't look at her at the farmer's market selling chickens and taking the high-end route. She is a rich woman. But in fact, she is 26 years old this year, and she is still in the late stage. If she breaks into the second realm, she can't sell chickens here. Being able to step into the second realm means that it is possible to go to a higher realm. What is she doing badly, selling chicken here? Li Jingzi raised his eyebrows as he felt the spiritual strength changes brought about by the two successive levels. In this wave, the strength of the spiritual power in his body more than doubled. Host, Li Jing experience value, 7/596 level, 7 spiritual power intensity, 48 equipment, none passive skills, none active skills, none called out the status bar to check, and Li Jing became more determined to change his career to killing demons and eliminating demons. The experience value requirement will randomly increase with his level increase, and the pre-experience will be zeroed out and the remaining experience will be 0. He killed the Lingji for 3 months and was upgraded to level 5, and his experience requirement was increased to 210. Is now level 7 and requires 596 experience to level up. To continue to rely on the spirit chicken to upgrade, he has to kill 60. And it must be a blood tank longer than 10 points. This trail is nowhere to go. It's rare to see chickens with blood troughs longer than 10 points. He only killed more than 70 chickens in 3 months, and only about a third of them were over 10 points. Turned his head and looked at the back kitchen, Li Jing said. Sister Sisi, come out, it's okay. Lu Sisi was hiding in the back kitchen at this time, terrified. Just a few minutes after Li Jing went out, there was no movement in the store. She wanted to come out and have a look, but she didn't dare. Hearing Li Jing talking, she stayed for a while, and carefully probed from behind the door. When entered the shop, it was in a mess. The demon chicken slumped at the entrance of the shop and his neck was almost completely severed. The red blood flowed all over the place, and Lu Sisi felt his legs weak. Looking at the store, there is only Li Jing alone, and there is no figure inside or outside the door. Lu Sisi stared in disbelief. This chicken. You killed it? Li Jing nodded. To be honest, demonization is just like that, quite weak. Li Jing's X costume, Lu Cixi was speechless on the spot. Demonization, you reading www.yunsha.com is weak? No matter what demonization it is not something ordinary people can deal with. Xiangzihu can only maintain what is needed in daily life, and basically has no combat power at all. It is great to have a few painless spells. After demonization, the body of the monster tends to become extremely tough. This alone is better than Xiangzihu too much. In a realm where human immortals generally lack combat effectiveness, the strengths and weaknesses are the most obvious. The difference between the two is completely the difference between a beast and a prey. Stared at Li Jing for a while, Lu Cixi walked out without saying a word, bumping his head against his chest. Li Jing was slammed into his arms suddenly, and was at a loss. You bastard! Why didn't you take it out sooner if you have the second stage ability? I was scared to death just now, watching you go out, I thought I would never see you again. When whimpered, Li Jing was stiff and somewhat innocent. Makes sense. He didn't know that he already had the ability of the second realm. Was hesitating whether to appease Lu Cixi. Two streams of light fell from the sky outside the store. The streamer converged, and a man and a woman stepped on the flying sword to reveal their figure. Seeing the demon chicken violently killed at the entrance of the store, the two of them were slightly stunned. Looking at Li Jingmei in the store again, the two looked at each other, and both jumped down Fijian. Then the man coughed slightly. We belong to the Inspection Bureau, and we received a report. Before he finished speaking, Lu Cixi, who buried his face in Li Jing's arms a second ago, suddenly raised his head, and Pear Flower's small face with rain was ferocious. This chicken was killed by my family Li Jing, you can't take it away. Li Jing. Men and women outside the door. Lu Cixi, I saw pity 1 second before, and the next second the chicken belongs to my family. Don't talk about the man and woman outside the door, Li Jing can't accept it. Seeing Lu Cixi facing the two people outside the door with teeth and dancing claws, Li Jing said silently. Sister Cixi, this is a lot of trouble, should we work with them first? Inspection Bureau is a water meter department that maintains city security. As a standard good citizen, Li Jing doesn't want to cause trouble. There are 4 established facts before his eyes. 1. There was a sudden incident of demonization of livestock. 2nd, people are dead outside. The people from the Inspection Bureau are here. 4. The demonized rooster that hurt people finally died in his hands. Combining the above 4 points, he and Lu Cixi should give priority to cooperating with the Inspection Bureau. Lu Cixi heard Li Jing whisper and raised his eyes subconsciously. When they raised their heads, the two naturally met their sights. She didn't think much about it before she was a post-mortem. The meeting was looking up, and she suddenly realized that she was a big girl in her 10th and 26th that was not suitable for catching a young man like Li Jing in her early 20s. Especially there are 2 patrols on the side. It's okay to know. I don't know, maybe I think she is taking advantage of Li Jing. Taking a half step away, Lu Cixi sorted out the rainy face of Pear Flower and looked at the 2 people outside the door. According to the regulations of the Monster Harm Management Act, in the event of a monster infringement, if someone bravely kills the monster before the Inspection Bureau is present, it effectively prevents the further development of the disaster. After the investigation of the incident and the aftermath are completed, the monster will be regarded as the personal possession of the righteous person. Harvest. While speaking, she lowered her voice and said to Li Jing. This demonized rooster can be demonized. It's not as good as a monster that has been demonized over the years, but it is also better than it has just been demonized. The demonized object that has been initially demonized is not demonized, and the flesh and blood is full of blood. It is still full of aura that drove it to complete its demonization, and it will not dissipate easily. This one on the ground happens to be a kind of poultry, and its value as an edible poultry is no less than 10 times higher than that of the chicken in the store. It can sell for $500,000. It took Li Jing for 3 months, and he has basically adapted to life in this world. But there are many things that he has not had time to understand in depth. Like Lu Cici's Monster Nuisance Management Bill, he hadn't even heard of it. This demonized rooster on the ground can be used as an edible poultry, which also touched his blind spot of knowledge. But these are not important. The important thing is, Lu Cici said that this chicken on the ground can sell for $500,000. Everything else is easy to say. He can't ignore this. 500,000. This is a huge sum of money that can effectively solve his current poverty dilemma. Without any hesitation, Li Jing took a half step forward with a straight face. Just wanted to make a sound, the female patrol outside the door faintly spoke. Since the two are aware of the Monster Harm Management Act, they should know that we will not be greedy for this monster. The monster was killed before we rushed to the scene and prevented the damage from spreading in time. As a public official, thanks to both of you," said, her conversation changed. "The corpse of the monster will belong to this Mr. Li. It is Mr. Li's freedom to control it. Now, please two of you can cooperate with our work. Please show your ID first." Cough. Li Jing coughed, and silently withdrew the steps he had just taken. Lu Cici twitched at the corner of his mouth. Little Young is a little young, and the scene can't live. At the critical moment, she has to rely on her eldest sister to come forward. "My younger brother is a black household who lives in Jianghai and does not have an ID card. I have reported him to the city 3 months ago. I am still going through the process, and it will take about 2 months to approve him. If both of you have to confirm his identity, you can go to the municipal administration." I heard that Li Jing is a dark household, and the two inspectors, a man and a woman, looked at him suspiciously. "Hi-hoo, it's not a rare thing. It's just that this kind of thing usually happens in the isolated mountains, which is quite rare in cities. Jianghai City is located in the prosperous country of China, surrounded by various provinces and cities. He can't even get on a car without his ID card. Why did he get to Jianghai?" Greeted the two of them for examination, and Li Jing chose to watch his nose and care, instead of speaking. It wasn't someone who replaced the soul wear when he crossed over, but he appeared in the street inexplicably in the form of wearing it. So he is indeed a dark household at present. Lu Cici has already reported him to the city, but it doesn't matter whether a black household is not a black household. It's just that at this moment, he thinks it would be better for him to say a few words less, so as not to have extra branches. Just as the 4 people were talking, the people who had not had time to escape from the farmer's market and had gathered one after another. No matter which world you are in, onlookers will always be people's constant hobby. Patrols have already arrived, and they have nothing to fear. Seeing a big demon chicken lying in a pool of blood in Lu Cici's shop from a distance, everyone was talking about it. "Oh, Diniang, I was really scared to death just now. I just came to buy some food, but I didn't expect to encounter demonization of domestic animals. Isn't it? Demonization is such a very low probability event that we can run into it, but fortunately, the inspection comes quickly, otherwise we people may not be cold." "Hey! You don't know, don't talk nonsense. I just came here, but I heard it. It was the guy in the store who killed the demon chicken, not the patrol. Those of us who took our lives should be thankful to him. The demon chicken was killed by this guy in the shop? It's amazing. I recognize this guy named Li Jing. He just works in the chicken shop. Does he have this ability?" The crowd onlookers chattered. There are lingering fears, surprises, and doubts. Gradually, the trend of the topic began to change. "Oh! Don't care who killed the demon chicken, it's fine if the demon chicken is dead. I met the chicken demon in front of me, and I almost lost my soul in fright." An ant patted her chest and made a sound. As soon as the words were finished, another old man with a cane in the crowd was talking about it. "You're good, I was chased by the chicken demon just now. If it weren't for the old man, I would use the strength of the milk to run, I would have lie down and wait to get into the dirt. Why are you being chased? An ant with a wide body and a fat body of at least 200 jins was unconvinced, and she uttered a voice. I had a face-to-face encounter with the chicken demon in front of me. If I hadn't been flexible enough to move around, let's not say that the chicken demon was scheming dozens of times. Seeing that more and more people gathered, the two patrols, one man and one woman, suddenly couldn't figure out what happened to Li Jing. You ran, let's pull up the cordon to protect the scene, so that we can collect evidence later. Male inspector spoke in a low voice. You reading www.uuganshu. CM. Female inspector nodded, then turned around. Everyone should go away, there is nothing to look at here. These words of no importance or no importance are naturally not enough to persuade the grandfather and aunt who are watching the excitement. The two have no tempers when they see this. With a group of uncles and aunts, what kind of temper can they have? Pulled up a cordon in front of the store and called for support. The two told Li Jing and Lu Sisi not to leave in the store, and to go elsewhere to confirm the situation of the victim. No rut. It was only at this point when they pulled the cordon, hundreds of people have already surrounded the store. Outside the market, there are still many unknown passers-by who see the excitement and walk in. After all, there are people who have lost their lives in the market. The dead monster chicken is not a key point. They have to give priority to ensuring that the aftermath is not affected. Lu Sisi saw that the two inspectors were busy with others, and a large crowd of onlookers gathered outside the store, whispering. Li Jing, let's not stand outside either. There are so many people, it's not a way for the demon chicken to leave the door. You chop off the chicken head and leave it behind. Let's go to the back kitchen and give it a hot bath and send it to the freezer. Li Jing was slightly startled, puzzled. Why do you want to keep a chicken head? Reporters will come over soon, and the families of the victims should be there soon. Lu Sisi said. The reporter said, we just hide from the kitchen. But the families of the victims must give the necessary respect. Leaving the blood-stained parts of the chicken demon is an explanation for them. Understood. Li Jing nodded and sighed inwardly. Lu Sisi is worthy of being a businessman, and he considers everything. As Lu Sisi said. Soon after Li Jing cut off the chicken head and brought the demon chicken into the back kitchen, the reporter who was moved by the wind arrived. Not much time later, the victim's family members also arrived. Thanks to the support of the Inspection Bureau, they have already arrived first, and the door has been cordoned off. Li Jing and Lu Sisi hid in the store behind the kitchen without being disturbed by reporters. The family of the victim, the two met for the time being. The family of the victim had no objection to the fact that the two left the chicken head. People in this world cannot be called pure. But compared to the world where Li Jing was originally in, some of the arrogant masters have a lot of truth. Monsters hurt people, no wonder who. Someone killed the monster, and the monster was the reward it deserved. This is a consensus in the world. Li Jing is a little bit sad. From the time of demonization to the appearance of the demon chicken in front of the store, it took less than 2 minutes in total. During the period, there were as many as 5 victims. This seemingly peaceful world is very dangerous. It was almost midnight, and the monster chicken matter was settled. The demon chicken head was taken away by the victim's family for safekeeping, and used to pay homage to the deceased in future burials. The Patrol Bureau's subordinate has made transcripts for Li Jing and Lu Sisi, and left after completing various evidence collection and follow-up matters. At the farmers' market late at night, the voices of people are getting less. Li Jing and Lu Sisi did not stay in the market much, they chose to leave after locking the kitchen door. Walking on the way out of the market, Lu Sisi looked back at his store and sighed softly. If the shop is like that, someone has to redecorate and press the door, let alone half a month to do business. Talking, she whispered. It doesn't matter if you have money or not, but it's a pity that demon chicken. If I can open the store, I can use it as a facade advertisement. There are many large stores in Jianghai City that sell edible monsters, but most of them are purchased from various places. They are basically things that are only a few months or even a few months old, and you can hardly see the real fresh ones. The fresher the edible monsters are, the more valuable they are. The use of monster chickens as a facade advertisement can not only attract many interested customers, but also sell them at a lot higher prices. Li Jing smiled while listening to Lu Cici's thoughts. Sister Cici, don't worry about this, the most important thing is that people are fine. Don't I feel a pity? Lu Cici smashed his mouth and took out his phone to say. My sister won't cheat you, the demon chicken is your harvest, I don't want it. I will try to contact the buyer in the 2 days to sell the demon chicken as a whole, and strive for a good price. I will transfer you 50 first. Yuan, I will replenish you when we sell it. While she was talking, she held her mobile phone while operating. Before Li Jing even had time to speak, the phone vibrated in his pocket. Took out his cell phone, he found that 500,000 had arrived. Suddenly there was money, and Li Jing couldn't help feeling that happiness came too quickly. Sister Cici, thank you, I really lack money these days. You deserve it, thank me for what? Lu Cici snorted and said. It's me who wants to say thank you. If you weren't there today, I'm afraid I would die young. Said, she came over with interest. Your boy has thick eyebrows and big eyes. It's quite hidden. We've known each other for 3 months. I didn't know today that you have the strength of the second realm. You have this ability, why don't you find a serious job? Although it can only be said to be just starting out, it is different from ordinary people after all. You have to be careful and can easily find a job with a monthly salary of 20,000. The ID card will come down sooner or later. This kind of thing is not a problem at all. Without waiting for Li Jing to speak, Lu Cici hugged his chest and stayed away from him a little bit, angrily. I said, you are not after me, are you? Li Jing. The topic jumped, and he was completely caught off guard. Lu Cici saw him look dazed, he smiled. If you didn't look at me, why would you come to me for a basic salary? Li Jing is dumb. In this case, he really couldn't find a suitable excuse. Lu Cici takes care of him very much. Even the cell phone number and bank card he currently uses are temporarily borrowed by Lu Cici. But he couldn't say anything about his own journey. There was a moment of silence. Li Jing said. Sister Cici, don't think about it. I really have nowhere to go to work in your shop. It's not because of ulterior motives. My situation is quite special and it is inconvenient to tell you in detail. But you can rest assured that I... Before finishing speaking, Lu Cici frowned. Are you trying to say, you look down on me? Li Jing choked. The truth, he understands it. Women are generally good at jumping repeatedly. You want to say that she is fancy, she is not happy. If you say you don't like her, she is still unhappy. Can really run into it, Li Jing is a bit unable to control it. Lu Cici saw his stomachache expression on his face, Pucci laughed out loud. Okay, I won't tease you. The store will not open for half a month. What are your plans next? Li Jing grinned as she looked at Lu Cici and couldn't help. I plan to go to the inspection department to see if I have a chance to be an inspection. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Cici's face collapsed. You have no conscience, are you planning to abandon me after all? Sister Cici, can we be more serious? Li Jing was full of black lines. Cannot. Lu Cici snickered. Why did you think of being an inspection? There is no special reason, I just want to find a decent job. Li Jing shrugged and said. You feel bad about work meals, as long as I come here at night. I am idle during the day, and I can find another job to enrich my life. I am now working hard in Jianghai, earning more money, and then thinking about buying a house or something. If you just want to make money, I don't recommend you to do inspections. Lu Sisi whispered, said. Inspections are not as easy as you think. They are busy 24 hours a day and are on standby. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com often faces the danger of death. Now this era looks very peaceful. In fact, crimes happen from time to time. When a crime occurs, inspections are often on the front line, and criminals are not so good at talking. Said, she continued. In addition, although demonization incidents like today are only incidental, there are not a few monsters hidden in the city. Many of them are born monsters, and some have even been transformed into humanoids and mixed in human society. Monsters hurt people and harm people. Human incidents are difficult for ordinary people to see once, but inspections often need to be faced, and the most sacrificed inspections are also involved in related incidents. I understand these. Li Jing nodded and said. Sister Sisi, don't worry, since I dare to take this path, I will definitely take care of myself. He wants to be an inspection. The picture of is a rare incident of monsters wounding and killing people, which is rare for ordinary people. For inspections, it is equivalent to commonplace. Danger is dangerous. To gain experience points faster, he can only think of this way. Whether the health bar he can see will appear elsewhere, he is not sure. But according to what he has seen so far, the monster must carry a blood bar. To be precise, as long as it is a non-human creature with aura in its body, it will definitely carry a health bar. Lu Sisi saw Li Jing look determined, and looked at him with beautiful eyes. The man's ambition is everywhere. Since you want to be an inspection, I won't persuade you. Said, she told. However, the inspection is a public office in the end, and the threshold is very high. With your current qualifications, it will definitely not work. First, you have no academic qualifications, and secondly, you have not received systematic professional training. I don't know the various management laws that you need to know about inspections. I really want to apply for the job. I'm afraid I won't even pass the written test. This. Li Jing is stiff. When patrolling, it's not that easy. He expected it. But the qualifications alone blocked him, and he was a little discouraged. Education, he has it. It's a pity that it's not in this world. Aside from the written test, the Inspection Bureau also requires at least one offensive and one defensive spell to self-study to a small level. The realm requirement is not high, and the lowest level of inspection only needs to be second. Lu Sisi continued to talk, tilting his head. If I guessed correctly, you probably haven't practiced offensive and defensive spells. Li Jing grinned, without saying anything. He has never practiced offensive and defensive spells? He hasn't even learned the most basic life spells. It's all because of poverty. But he barely has some money now, and the spell can be arranged later. The proficiency is more difficult, so you have to practice. But even if he is trained, he will treat the symptoms but not the root cause. He needs an education. With your current conditions, you can go to the auxiliary investigation section of the inspection department to try. Lu Sisi spoke again and said. The requirements of the auxiliary investigation department are not so high. You have the strength of the second stage. As long as you add some basic knowledge of the law, you should be able to pass. In the auxiliary investigation department for a year or two, if you perform well, you will be promoted to the inspection bureau without examination. It's not impossible. As far as I know, many people who do not meet the entry requirements of the inspection bureau have been awarded a position in the auxiliary inspection section. I don't need a degree in the auxiliary examination. Li Jing tilted his head. Of course it is best to have it, but it is not required to have it. Lu Sisi stopped on the side of the street and said. The salary of the auxiliary inspection is very low. How can so many high-achieving students want to do it? Those who will be the auxiliary inspection are either intern students, or those who want to be inspections like you but cannot meet the conditions. So. Li Jing blinked, hope rekindled in his heart. Auxiliary Chaco. Gu Ming thinks, it is a lower-level department that exists to assist in inspections. Usually assists in inspections and handles cases, and is responsible for post-event disposal. Like today's 2 patrols calling for reinforcements to maintain order on the scene, they are basically from the Auxiliary Investigation Department. Auxiliary Chaco rarely has the opportunity to seriously participate in an ongoing case. Like a monster hurting people, it is only after the dust has settled that it is the turn of Auxiliary Chaco to appear on the scene to carry out the aftermath. This is a bit difficult for Li Jing. He must be on the first scene if he wants to gain experience by beheading the demon. But in front of you, it is a choice. You can't make a fat man with one bite. Everything has to be done step by step. Thought for a while, Li Jing said. Okay, in the past few days I made up various basic bills, and then went to the Auxiliary Investigation Department to see if I had a chance to pass it. Remember to let me know if you have any news. Lu Sisi smiled and stretched out his hand to stop a taxi. I'll go back first, let's contact with the cell phone if something happens. While talking, she got into the back seat of the car and rolled down the window, smiling. After half a month, when the shop is cleaned up, remember to come back to work. Our chicken shop is only a small business, and I will not pay you a salary. But if you want to behave well, I can barely make you eat more chicken. Good. Li Jing smiled in response. In Lu Sisi's shop, is that called a small business? Small business, she is willing to kill a chicken every day? Certainly. 1 yard owned by a yard. Li Jing did not expect a salary increase. Killing a chicken and asking for a raise is too much. Lu Sisi's shop, he can't put it down. Not to mention that people are kind to him, the craftsmanship of this person and the taste of the chicken work meal are far more delicious than those eaten on the street. Help kill chickens, he can still gain experience points. No matter how thin the mosquito's legs are, it's meat. It is still very promising. Watching Lu Sisi leave by car, Li Jing didn't rush back to the rental house. If you want to rest when you go back, it's a idiotic dream, so why bother with yourself? The night is quiet. Li Jing stopped by a bridge, sat on the bridge pier and took out his mobile phone. The saying goes well. No money, no sense of security. With $500,000 in his pocket, he is now full of confidence. Xian learns spells and arranges. Opened the Xiangxia website affiliated to the official state of China, Li Jing quickly found the storage spell, planning to learn one and try the water first. Storage spell is the most basic and cheapest life spell, almost everyone knows it. But there are many types of storage spells. There are no less than 100 storage spells that are similar to each other, and Li Jing only feels a dull pain in his brain. He has committed a difficult choice disorder. Chose for a long time, and finally he chose a storage spell called Surrounding Space. He chose to have space because after this spell opens up the storage space at one time, the space will increase with the increase of the aura content in the body, without the need for additional development, which is very convenient. In addition to convenience, there are also 2 obvious shortcomings in the space required. 1. The storage space for the first development will be relatively small. Secondly, the storage space opened up by the need for space cannot be actively used for secondary development. If the aura content in the body cannot be increased, the storage space can only be so large for a lifetime. Li Jing has no aura. But there is spiritual power that can be matched with aura. As long as there is a monster kill that can be upgraded, the shortcomings of the required space are nothing. Selected the Suyin space, Li Jing clicked to choose to buy. Deposit balance, 5,000. As the payment is successful, a very awkward formula pops up when the web page jumps. Before I had time to take a closer look, an unemotional female reminder sounded in my ear. I found that passive skills can be learned, and there is no room for it. Do you want to log in? Li Jing was stunned. The appearance of the prompt sound proved that his previous guess was correct. The passive and active skills on the status bar are the magical method of Xiangxiu, which needs him to learn. Question this will let him not talk about learning, even before he read the formula. The system prompts him to log in. Are you making trouble? Feelings don't need him to bother to learn, as long as he sees the formula. Scratching his head, Li Jing muttered login silently in his heart. At the same time, the voiceless female voice in her ear sounded again. Successfully log into the passive skills, there is no space. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com storage space opened successfully. Is this over? Li Jing frowned. Is a bit too convenient. As long as I have money to buy formulas, don't I want to learn something? Just as he thought, a beep sounded in his ear again. Successfully acquire skills, add skill points in the status bar. Converted by level, current skill points, 14. Once assigned, the skill points cannot be changed, please choose carefully. Li Jing. He just thought about what he wants to learn as long as he has money to buy formulas. This time, he was immediately beaten in the face. Sure enough, there are limits to learning skills. Skill point 3 words, easy to understand. Is used to add skills. Host, Li Jing experience value, 7/596 level, 7 skill points, 14 spiritual power intensity, 48 equipment, none passive skills, sudden space active skills, none called out the panel. Li Jing was puzzled. Click the skill column, he did see it. There is no place to add more. Can't take the space for a while and don't deserve to be added, right? After pondering, Li Jing thought of a possibility. The space is self-growth, unlike other storage spells that can only be opened up by skilled use after it is opened. Maybe the problem lies here. Add skills, isn't it just to increase proficiency and power? Self-growth, no need to add something for granted. Upholding the attitude of scientific practice, Li Jing swipes his phone to turn the page to the second stage of the Immortal Realm to learn defensive spells, intending to learn a defensive spell. Choosing defensive spells, Li Jing was a lot more cautious. The appearance of skill points clearly told him that there are restrictions on learning skills. It's not good to be careless. Checking the descriptions of a wide variety of defensive spells one by one, Li Jing's eyes jumped. Which is better and which is bad? He can't tell. This is one of them. Secondly, the defensive spells that can only be learned in the second realm are really expensive. The cheapest one is more than 100,000 yuan. The most expensive is 200,000 yuan. After thinking about it, Li Jing gritted his teeth and chose the most expensive, the spiritual clothing body protector. Can't tell the difference between good and bad, then you must choose the expensive one. Dear. Is not necessarily the best. But definitely not time. Reluctantly click the buy button to jump to the web page. Ling II body protection formula pops up. The beep sounded again in his ear. I found that I can learn passive skills, spiritual clothing protection. Do you want to log in? Log in. Successfully log into passive skills, spiritual clothing protects the body. As the prompt sound fell, Li Jing found that the spiritual power that originally circulated naturally in his body, separated a part of it and circulated under the skin of the body, faintly forming a piece of clothing hidden under the skin. In terms of senses, he has improved his defensive ability somewhat. Probably cut his hand when he killed the chicken, so he wouldn't be cut. This defensive ability can only be said to be better than nothing. Look at the status bar again. The passive skill shows the spiritual body, and there is a behind it. Everything, as Li Jing expected. There is space for a while, it is not worthy. But it is also unworthy because of it. It takes 5 skill points to fill up the spiritual clothing body. He now only has 14 skill points in total. Go to 5 points in one breath, learn up to 2 more skills, and still be dissatisfied with the remaining 1. Obsessive-compulsive disorder competitor said that dissatisfaction is not enough. After confirming that it takes 5 o'clock to fill up a skill, Li Jing knew it too. There are 5 levels of proficiency in learning spells. Introduction, Xiaocheng, Entrance, Dacheng, Consummation. I want to come up with 5 skill points which correspond to these 5 proficiency stages. The skill point limit is somewhat different. But as long as you have skill points, you can increase your skills to the perfect degree in one breath, which is simply too convenient. There is nothing to say. Add. Body protection skills are the key to life. Must be full. Filled up the body protector's spiritual garment in one breath, and Li Jing soon had a real feeling. All the spiritual power in his body has changed the original circulation method, changed to circulate under the skin to form a spiritual garment. This time, the senses are suddenly different. To what extent the specific self-defense ability has been improved, Li Jing is not sure. But I feel safe. With the experience of the necessary space and the body protector, Li Jing became a lot bolder. After learning 2 passives, it's time to learn to be active. With defensive spells, there should be an offensive spell, right? 1 offensive and 1 defensive. 2 immortals learn spells to achieve a small success in self-study, and it is also one of the basic conditions for being a patrol. Swiping the phone, Li Jing directly found the most expensive attack spell that Immortal Second Realm could learn from the list, Palm Thunder. The 3 characters thunder in the palm of the hand are very grounded. Makes Li Jing feel very kind. However, the price made him feel worried. 280,000. This is going to be bought. I didn't get 500,000 in my hand, but only 15,000 were left. Purchase. To kill monsters and gain experience, attack spells are indispensable. Grit your teeth and press the buy button, the web page will jump. I found that active skills can be learned. Palm Thunder, do you want to log in? Log in. Successfully log in the active skill, Palm Thunder. Add a bit. Li Jing stretched his Palm Thunder proficiency in one breath, and then quickly looked around. How strong the defensive ability of the body protector is, he can't try it. Palm Thunder, but he can actually test it. But this matter is more taboo. The state of China clearly stipulates that offensive spells are not allowed to be used in urban emergencies in Africa. Even if it is an on-the-job inspection, offensive spells can only be used when necessary. Incidentally, in the city, it is not allowed to arbitrarily Yukong Yujian. Yukong Yujian is only allowed during on-the-job inspections. Of course, here it is stipulated that the benevolent see the benevolent and the wise, the wise. Offensive spells and Yukong Yujian are not allowed to be used at will, mainly to prevent unnecessary damage and disturb the order of the city. As long as it does not affect others to ensure that no damage is caused, even if it is arrested, it will be fined at most and criticized and educated. Make sure that there is no one on the left and right and there is no monitoring. Li Jing feels relieved and boldly raises his palm and blasts towards the sky. Boom! A thick-armed thunder spit out from his palm, rushing straight toward the sky with a terrifying force, and dissipated to a position of about 50 meters. The range of 50 meters is a bit shorter. But the momentum is huge, it must be sour and refreshing to hit the body. Deserves to be the most expensive attack spell in the second realm, worth 280,000 yuan. Li Jing made a secret evaluation, shrinking his neck, and decisively fled the scene. Just that movement is hard not to be noticed. If you don't run, the person from the inspection bureau may pick up the report after a while. It was almost 2 o'clock in the morning when Li Jing returned to the rental house. In a creaking sound, Li Jing sat on the edge of the bed and took out his mobile phone to open the balance. Balance, 15,632. The word sorrow was quickly written on his face. 2 second-level spells, 1 attack and 1 defense, killed him 480,000. In addition to the cheaper room, only 15,000 are left for 500,000. The extra 632 yuan on the account is his living expenses reserved in advance. Go back to before liberation overnight, is there anything? Ugh. With a secret sigh, Li Jing opened the rental website. There are 4 skill points left on the status bar. He has no intention of using it for the time being, and he has no conditions to use it. The spell of the second realm has a starting price of 100,000 yuan. He can't learn. As for the spells of a realm, learning it may waste skill points, and he may not be able to use it. One world spells are basically life-related. There is enough room for a while. With a balance of 15,000 in the account, Li Jing plans to improve his living environment and find a good rental house. In the next few days, he had to make up for various basic bills. Every night is so noisy, how can he study at ease? Baikan district is a suburb of Jianghai. The rental information is very rich, and the price is much cheaper than in the urban area. Is just a listing, generally not so good. Either the transportation is inconvenient, or it is an old house of 20 to 30 years. Li Jing looked at him for a long time, and then he committed choice difficulty again. Since he wants to move, he must find a better one. Problems with real good housing, the monthly rent is at least 6,000. Jianghai is a big city after all. Even if Baikan district is cheaper, it is not much cheaper. 6,000 monthly rent is too expensive for him. The purse cannot bear it. Yu reading www.yuganju. CM in a difficult situation, a coalescing message caught Li Jing's attention. Closed Moon Garden, urgently seeking a shared lease. Require, male, with good facial features, age not more than 25, cultivation level or above. Can do laundry, mopping and cooking, can do housework, and know how to take care of others. Those who meet the conditions are entitled to a monthly rent of 3,000. Sharing with others, Li Jing is a little bit conflicted. Before crossing, he shared a rent with an extremely lazy roommate, leaving a not so good memory. Question: this share information is not good enough. Closed Moon Garden. Sounds very vulgar, but it's actually a villa area. Li Jing knew it because the Closed Moon Garden was not far from the farmer's market, and it only took about half an hour to walk. Closed Moon Garden is not too high grade. But it is a villa after all, and the monthly rent starts at least 30,000 yuan. Spend 3,000, can live in a house rented for 30,000 months, do you think it smells good? The only thing that Li Jing felt a little bit reluctant was that the Kolazing asked to take care of the housework and take care of others. Where is this for quarantine? Is obviously looking for a nanny. Combined with the requirements for age and appearance in the sharing information, Li Jing estimated that this sharing information should be released by a wealthy wife. Otherwise, why do you have to have a young man under 25, and still have requirements for cultivation? After pondering for a while, Li Jing wrote down the address information and decided to check it out tomorrow. No matter how bad he is, he has now learned the Tulavel spells of 1 attack and 1 defense, so self-defense must be enough. Anyway, I can see that there will be no less meat. If he is a lonely, empty, and cold rich woman, as long as he is not outrageous, he doesn't mind to cope with it. The next day, Li Jing got up early in the morning to clean up the rental house and put all his belongings into the storage space. Coming to this world in March, he has nothing to call his belongings. Can take away only some replacement clothes. The storage space can be installed, just take it all at once. After finishing cleaning up, Li Jing called the landlord and returned the room. Near the end of the month, he didn't bother to mention the withdrawal of the rent. Anyway, he is not going to live in this rental house. It felt inappropriate to go to the Closed Moon Garden late, so I found a hotel to make do with it for a while, waited for the assistant to check the salary that I could get, and then consider what kind of house to rent. Time is approaching noon. Li Jing came to the Closed Moon Garden. According to the address provided in the sharing information, he quickly found the place. Was about to ring the doorbell on the outside wall of the villa, when the door of the villa inside the wall suddenly opened. Immediately afterwards, a white dog with an unusual sage ran out from behind the door. Seeing this dog at first glance, Li Jing's eyes were straight at the time. The breed of dog is the second child of the 3 foolish sleds he was familiar with before he crossed, husky. Huskies are not handsome, needless to say. But this is not the point. The point is, he saw a long blood bar on the head of Urha who ran out. The marked value is as high as 3,267. 3,267. What is the concept? Yesterday, the demon chicken in the farmer's market suddenly demonized and pecked several people to death. The blood tank was only 574. In front of my eyes. Duo is an old demon dog who has been a demon for many years. Had it not been blocked by the exterior wall door, which was not cheap to look at, Li Jing almost couldn't help rushing in to cast down demons and slay demons. The thickness of the blood tank is 3,267. Is equal to 3,267 points of experience. Is approximately equal to 326 chickens with blood tanks longer than 10 points. Li Jing saw Urha, and Urha naturally also saw him. When I went out, I saw someone standing outside the door of the outer wall looking at him. Urha stopped abruptly, and stopped at the steps to face him. Then, in Li Jing's speechless gaze, Urha raised his forefoot in a posture of facing him across the door, and successfully stepped on the air with a mournful grunt, and rolled down the steps. At the scene like this, the corners of Li Jing's mouth twitched frantically. The purity of the pedigree of this Urha is beyond his imagination. For a moment, he even wondered if he had read it wrong. Such a pure husky, can it be a monster dog with a blood tank of 3,267 in thickness? Inside the outer wall door, Urha grabbed the ground and fell down the steps, got up quickly, looked fiercely around. That posture is extremely humane. Looks very like is to make sure that no other dog sees a shameful scene of himself. Just as Urha was patrolling around, an ethereal female voice came from behind the open door of the villa. "Smelly tofu, what did you call nonsense? Did you fall off the house again?" When hearing the female voice suddenly, Li Jing was taken aback for a moment. The word "you" is the essence of the female voice. After listening to this female voice, he was very familiar with it. Before he could recall, a figure in cartoon pajamas walked out of the villa. Upon entering this figure, Li Jing's expression suddenly became weird. Came out at this time. Is not someone else. Is one of the 2 patrols who rushed to the farmer's market last night, Chen Yuran. On the other side, Chen Yuran went out and saw Li Jingchu outside the door of the outer wall. "Why are you here?" Facing the question, Li Jing spoke subconsciously. "I saw on the internet that this is a joint lease. Quarantine." Chen Yuran frowned strangely. Looked at Li Jing through the door, she hesitated for a moment, stepped forward and opened the outer wall door. "It's not convenient outside, let's talk inside the house." Li Jing nodded. "We'll meet Chen Yuran when he comes over, telling the truth makes him unexpected. But it's all here, I must come in and have a look." Followed Chen Yuran into the courtyard, Li Jing calmly glanced at Urha, who shook his head and waved his tail behind her. "You husky, seems to be a demon dog. Smelly tofu is a spirit beast, not a monster." Chen Yuran replied casually. "Spirit beast?" Li Jing was taken aback, and his eyes on the stinky tofu changed. Spirit beasts are extremely rare alien species. The difference between it and the monster is very big. Spirit beasts are naturally acquainted with human nature and possess extraordinary spirituality. When is born in the first year, spirit beasts usually have a high level of intelligence. Monster is not the case. Even if he is a monster by nature, his spiritual intelligence is improved step by step with his practice. Li Jing originally thought that stinky tofu was the demonization of a domestic pet. Chen Yuran, a master of art, is not afraid of encountering the master bidder, so he dared to raise it. "I don't want this thing to be a spirit beast. This is a bit terrible." Spirit beasts are already famous for being rare. Domestic Pedigree spirit beasts like huskies are even more rare. Its price is at least tens of millions. A dog, tens of millions. Chen Yuan, how rich do you have to be able to afford this kind of thing? Li Jing was shocked. As if he knew the thoughts in his heart, Chen Yuan said lightly. Don't think too much, I didn't buy stinky tofu myself. It was a gift from my dad when I was 7 years old. I might not be able to afford it if I sold it with my own financial resources. Li Jing was silent. He thought about it. Chen Yuan's father is rich, doesn't it mean she is rich? It's hard for you to see that stinky tofu is special. Chen Yuan sighed lightly, slightly sad. I have raised this silly dog for 17 years, and I can barely reach the level of the 3 realms in practice. But you see how silly it looks like a spiritual beast with a successful practice? People with no eyesight see it. Only if it's just an ordinary husky. Li Jing slowly typed a question mark, and looked at the stinky tofu in disbelief. This dog, 3 realms. Is 1 rank higher than him? Li Jing is a little confused. He is very familiar with the term that people are not as good as dogs. I've only heard it before, but now I've really encountered it. After Chen Yuan himself, I am afraid that it is no better than this dog. There are a total of 9 levels in the inspection system, and the ranking is simple and rude. Each level corresponds to a realm above the 2nd realm. Chen Yuan is a 2nd level inspection, and it is properly a 3-level inspection. A dog, with a realm equivalent to the 2nd level inspection. Do you dare to believe it? But Li Jing changed his mind and felt relieved again. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com. Chen Yuan has been raising this dog for 17 years. For spirit beasts, there are no natural talent restrictions. From a certain point of view, being born as a spirit beast itself is a manifestation of its extremely high talent. Based on the prerequisite of talent, it is not surprising that there are 3 realms and 17 years of practice. Paying attention to the blood stick on the head of the stinky tofu, Li Jing has a little thought. Taking stinky tofu as a reference, a blood tank of 3000 plus seems to mean entering the 3 realms for the first time? This information is quite valuable. He was thinking about the harvest experience of slaying demons and slayers, but he didn't think that he would go straight up when he saw a monster. Li Jing still has the consciousness of life. The demon chicken in the farmer's market yesterday was just a preliminary demonization. Didn't even have a demonic air, so he was easily beheaded. It will never be so easy to encounter a monster that has become a climate. Walked all the way through the courtyard to the front of the villa. Chen Yuan casually patted the head of the stinky tofu. I am playing outside, I have to entertain guests. Hearing the instructions, the stinky tofu clicked his head and ran away briskly. Li Jing raised his eyebrows when he saw this. The spirit beast is indeed a spirit beast. Was born spiritually. Know human nature, understand human language. Into the villa. Chen Yuan looked back. You will sit down for a while, and I will go upstairs and change my clothes. There is a drink in the refrigerator, so take what you want to drink. Good. Li Jing answered and sat down on the sofa. As a man, there must be demeanor. Chen Yuan is wearing pajamas, it is always inconvenient to talk to him. Wait for a while, it's okay to let someone change the clothes. Is about 10 minutes. Chen Yuan changed his body and obeyed downstairs. Seeing Li Jingzheng sitting on the sofa downstairs, she joked. Relax, I don't eat people. Li Jing grinned and continued to sit tightly. It wasn't that he was nervous or something. The key is Chen Yuan, not only a rich woman, but also an on-the-job inspection. Whether before or after crossing, Li Jing is just a citizen. Facing the inspection, I felt a little awkward. Seeing that someone was still sitting still looking worried, Chen Yuan smiled and sat on the other sofa opposite, and put his mobile phone on the coffee table. Regarding quarantine, I have 2 things to explain. Opened the chat box, Chen Yuren looked straight over. First of all, I bought this villa a while ago, not rented it. Ah, this. Li Jing was stunned. Chen Yuren said that she bought the villa, but he didn't feel surprised. Inches of land and gold in rivers and seas. But the Baikan district is actually that way. Remote suburbs, no matter how expensive they are, they can't go anywhere. The price of this villa is about 15 million yuan. For Li Jing, 15 million is an astronomical figure. For Chen Yuren, what does this little money count? People are raising a husky, a spirit beast worth tens of millions. Question: this villa was bought by Chen Yuren, so there is no such thing as a shared lease? This is different from what he expected. The second thing, the sharing information was not released by me, it was my dad's own opinion. Li Jing. To be honest. From seeing Chen Yuren, he felt that this was not right. The contact between him and Chen Yuren last night was limited to a brief recording. But it is not difficult to see through his words and the way of asking questions. Chen Yuren is a relatively strong, very opinionated girl. Combined with her young age, has been inspected at the second level, and she is properly classified as a strong woman. Could a strong woman be unable to take care of herself and need someone to take care of her laundry and cooking? Even if needed. She is not so good at playing. She posted such an extremely ambiguous collassing information on the internet. This will learn that the collassing information was released by Chen Yuren and her father, and Li Jing understood it. Can play, not Chen Yuren. But her father. Regarding this, Li Jing does not know what to say. Can only say. City people, really good at playing. Looking at Li Jing with a speechless face, Chen Yuren didn't hide it. Speaking of this, I feel helpless. With a light sigh, she said bitterly. Just 2 years after I graduated, my dad was anxious to let me start a family. He came and went to introduce me to a lot of men who he thought were young and promising. I didn't want to reluctantly bought this house and moved out of the house. Unexpectedly, he still wouldn't let me go. Whimsical gave me such a bad move. The reputation is that he helped me cast a big net on the internet and let me find a pleasing first place. Li Jing listened to Chen Yuren's remarks, but he felt nothing but laughter. Chen Yuren, her father, can play much better than he thought. Cast a big net on the internet, let the girl pick a pleasing first. Is this a human thing? He doesn't worry, the people who come here are all people with ulterior motives? Squeezing his eyebrows without crying or laughing, Li Jing raised his eyes and wanted to say excuse me, goodbye. Just before he could speak, Chen Yuren said suddenly. I can let you live in the guest room downstairs without charging you rent. Li Jing. I have known about your situation. When I returned to the bureau last night, I also checked the identity information you are filing for the record. Chen Yuren said. Wandering in the rivers and seas is not easy. You and I are destined for the time being. It doesn't matter to me to take you in for a while. At least in my opinion, you are not here today to dream and hug a rich woman, you are purely trying to make money and take risks. Chen Yuren's analysis made Li Jing feel old-faced with fever. Rich woman dream, he really didn't do it. The picture is cheap and risky, but it is said. Facing Chen Yuren at this moment, Li Jing wanted to have a wave of riches and nobles. The problem was said. Can let him live without collecting rent. I missed this village, but I was caught by this shop. Everything is because of poverty. With a light cough, Li Jing asked. Is there a lot of trouble for you as a shield? Li Jing is not a fool. Chen Yuren was willing to let him live without collecting rent, obviously not for being kind, but for coping with her father. Seeing that Li Jing is a sensible person, Chen Yuren is also unambiguous. The trouble shouldn't be enough. My dad just hopes that I will get married soon. He never takes care of my affairs or dares to take care of it. After her speaking, she added. Furthermore, I didn't ask you to pretend to be my boyfriend, and let you stay here just to let his old man see some signs, and honestly deleted the share renting information on the internet. Sorry, he will just try to contact you. You can just deal with it at that time, don't take it seriously. Li Jing heard Chen Yuan's remarks, but he always felt a little unreliable. But there is nothing wrong with it. Is not to pretend to be a mail ticket, but only to show some signs of the old father who wants a girl to get married, and there shouldn't be anything wrong. Thinking that there is no free lunch in the world, Li Jing gritted his teeth secretly. Okay, I promise you this. Well. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Chen Yuan smiled and nodded, showing a worried expression. Obviously, Li Jing is not the only one who came to find a share house. Had been here many times before him. Chen Yuan and her father fought wits and courage, and felt exhausted physically and mentally. Took out the key and put it on the table, Chen Yuan said. This is the key to the villa. Keep it and don't lose it. You don't need to do housework. I have another part-time job. But you can only solve the meal by yourself. I don't know how to cook and eat outside. The kitchen is just a furnishings. If you don't find it bothersome, you can buy groceries and cook by yourself. Was about to say something more when her mobile phone on the coffee table rang. Seeing the number displayed on the phone screen, Chen Yuan frowned, picked up the phone and pressed the answer button. Didn't know what was said on the phone, her face flickered and she said I got it to hang up, and then she got up suddenly. Something went wrong in the jurisdiction, and the bureau was short of manpower. I have to go there. You have to be free, please help me walk a dog. While talking, she walked out of the villa quickly. Before Li Jing even squeaked, Chen Yuan waved his hand to call out the flying sword soaring into the sky, turning into a streamer and shooting into the sky. Seeing streaming blinking away, Li Jing was somewhat dazed. Is this an on-the-job inspection? Resolutely, a phone call immediately went out. Even if there are outsiders in the house? Looking back at the key Chen Yuan left on the table, Li Jing put the key away. Stay as a shield, you can use a villa room, and the kitchen can be used casually. This sale is very cost-effective. The key is not to have money, this is very fragrant. Got up and went to the kitchen for an on-site inspection, and Li Jing was very satisfied. Although Chen Yuan doesn't know how to cook, there are everything in the kitchen, and they are all high-end goods that ordinary people can't afford. Li Jing's previous rental house did not have a kitchen. Every time he gets a meal, he can only go to the street to eat. It's not too expensive, but it's not delicious. Is just one dinner, he can rub Lucie's work meal. There is a kitchen where he can cook by himself, and he can save a fortune. Before crossing, Li Jing lived alone. It's not a matter of cooking. After inspecting the kitchen, Li Jing took a look at the guest room downstairs. He was even more satisfied with this look. There is only one room on the first floor of the villa. But this one alone is more than twice the size of his rental house. Not only that. All the furnishings in the guest rooms are brand new. Not to mention everything, and even equipped with a computer. Through this time, Li Jing hasn't even had a chance to touch a computer. One is that he can't afford it. Another one is that there is no internet in the rental house. Right now, it's done in one step. With such generous living conditions in front of him, Li Jing feels that there is nothing to fault. When it was almost noon, Li Jing decided to go out and buy some ingredients to come back, and walk a dog by the way. Chen Yuan didn't ask him anything before he left, just hoping to help walk the dog. This little thing still needs to be satisfied. Walking out of the villa, Li Jing saw the stinky tofu happily digging the soil under a vine in the courtyard, and couldn't help but twitch at the corner of his mouth. The key to stinky tofu doesn't count the shoveling of the soil. It seems like a few claws have been convulsed, and then the claws go crazy on the spot 2 times, and then a head is planted into the digging hole, and then retracted to continue the planing. Tu-ha, after all, it is Tu-ha. Deserves its name. Seeing the stinky tofu release Erha's nature, Li Jing can be regarded as understanding Chen Yuan's sadness when talking about this stupid dog earlier. Shook his head, Li Jing called softly. Smelly tofu. The stinky tofu ears moved in the courtyard, and he turned his head to look over in confusion. Your master asked me to take you for a walk before going out. I want to go out to buy groceries. Are you going? Li Jing spoke. Smelly tofu heard the words wow and quickly nodded. Pidian Padian ran over and raised one of his front paws and gestured. A pair of dog chains appeared out of thin air and fell to the ground. Li Jing stared at this. Storage space. A dog with storage space. This trademark. After a long period of days, Li Jing finally eased up. Looking at the stinky tofu wagging his big tail, picking up the dog's leash and sending it to his hand, Li Jing felt that he had to abandon the prejudice against the creature like Erha and face this big dog squarely. Stinky tofu again, that is also a spirit beast. And it is a 3-level spirit beast. Putting aside the prejudices, Li Jing also noticed that although the stinky tofu had just plowed the soil and planted his face in the pit, neither his face nor his paws were stained with dirt. Reached out and touched the big head of the stinky tofu, tasted its soft hair, Li Jing was amazed. Is a dog worth tens of millions? Touching this dog's head, it feels like a touch. Took the dog leash and fastened the stinky tofu, by the way, closed the door of the villa, and Li Jing took it out of the villa area. Chen Yuan obviously spends time training stinky tofu on weekdays. Went out, the stinky tofu behaved very well. Stayed at Li Jing's side at all times, neither pulling nor tugging on the leash. Steady steps are completely uncommon. Erha makes people go crazy when he goes out. With its face value, don't mention how much face it is holding in the hand. When I walked out of the closed moon garden, the passers-by I met on the road turned around almost 100%. For a while, Li Jing couldn't help but like this big dog. The only thing that makes him a little uncomfortable is every step of stinky tofu runs, the strangely long blood bar on its head bumps up. This scene is in Li Jing's eyes. Is no different than a gorgeous girl waving her handkerchief and calling her uncle to play. To be honest, this is very boring. No words all the way. Because there was an accident at the nearby farmer's market yesterday, Li Jing deliberately stayed close to seek further distance to avoid suspicion, and took stinky tofu for an hour to a vegetable market far away. As soon as he arrived at the door of the vegetable market, Li Jing frowned. Looking up, there are only a few customers walking in the vegetable market. Vegetable vendors' stalls, only a few are open. This meeting time, it is almost noon. At noon, business in the vegetable market will not be much better. It's time to buy vegetables, I bought them all in the morning. The next peak is the evening. But in any case, the vegetable market should not be so deserted at noon. What is the situation? Was wondering, there happened to be an ant in the market who was carrying a lot of results and came out. Li Jing took the stinky tofu forward. Auntie, what's the situation in the vegetable market? How come there seem to be so few people? Auntie was also enthusiastic when she met the inquiry, and stopped on the trail. Young man, you must have not watched the news? This morning, 5 demonization incidents occurred in various fresh vegetable markets in Baikan district, and dozens of people died. 5 demonization incidents in the morning? Li Jing frowned, thinking that the ant was pulling the calf. Demonization incidents, how can it happen so frequently? Let alone a small Baikan district, the entire Jianghai city may not happen once a year. 5 times a morning, is this going to heaven? It was clear that Li Jing did not believe it, and the ant shook her head. If you don't believe me, just take a look at the headlines with your mobile phone. Now it's not just the fresh food business people who are panicking, but the fruit and vegetable sellers dare not go out casually. After all, everyone is doing business in the same place. What is going to happen? I might lose my life. Talking, the ant continued. Young man, if you want to buy groceries, hurry up. If there are these vegetable vendors in the market, you may have to run away. Remember to buy more to reserve. If the Inspection Bureau cannot find a result of this matter today, I am afraid that it will not matter tomorrow. There will be no dealers in the vegetable market or the farmer's market. When the time comes to buy vegetables, I'm afraid I can only go to the supermarket to buy the expensive ones that are not fresh. Heard the words Inspection Bureau, Li Jing suddenly thought that Chen Yuran answered the phone and hurried out more than an hour ago. Politely thanked the aunt, Li Jing took the stinky tofu into the vegetable market, took out his mobile phone and opened the news software. Then, a red headline title came into view. Suddenly, demonization incidents have erupted continuously in Baikan district for unknown reasons, and nearly 100 people have been victimized. Seeing the headline title, Li Jing frowned. What the aunt just said is true. Click on the title, and Li Jing stopped to review the content. It doesn't matter if you don't look at it, he was shocked when he saw it. The headline he saw at the moment was released 5 minutes ago. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com. As of the time of publication, there have been 8 demonization incidents in Baikan in the morning. 3 times more than what the aunt said. These 3 extra times were concentrated in the hour when he went out to the vegetable market. But these 3 times did not happen in the fresh food business market. They happened in a pet shelter and 2 pet hospitals. 8 demonization incidents in a row, where is it not messy? Including the one at the farmer's market yesterday, 9 times in less than 24 hours. No wonder Chen Yuran left so hurriedly in the morning. So, what's the problem? Li Jing wondered. The saying goes well. There must be demons if something goes wrong. The frequent occurrence of demonization incidents is unscientific. It is only Baikan district where demonization incidents have occurred one after another. There is no news in other places in Jianghai. There must be some external cause that has caused a series of demonization incidents. Was thinking, the stinky tofu who was walking beside Li Jing was frantically fried, barking at a fish stall not far away, as if he was about to rush over. Li Jing hurriedly grabbed the leash when he saw it. Stinky tofu understands human nature and is unlikely to hurt people. But I'm not afraid of 10,000, just in case. It's still necessary to guard against a point. On the other side, the fishmonger in front of the fish stall was also taken aback by the stinky tofu, and hurriedly got up and took the net bag that was placed aside. Seeing Li Jing's reaction, promptly grabbed the leash, the fishmonger breathed a sigh of relief and looked unhappy. Young man, take care of your dog. Li Jing heard that he wanted to apologize subconsciously, but raised his eyes to see a huge fathead fish in the basin in front of the fishmonger suddenly jumping to more than 3 meters high. The change came so suddenly that Li Jing and the fishmonger were both dumbfounded. Then, both of them reacted. Fish, how can it be possible to jump 3 meters high? Not to mention that this fish was taken to the market and placed in a pot, its activity has long since gone. Demonization. At the moment when the two of them thought of the 3 words demonization, the figure of a fathead fish more than 3 meters high suddenly soared to the size of a car. At the same time, a rapidly growing blood bar appeared in Li Jing's eyes. In a blink of an eye, the blood bar stretches straight, and the number mark soars from 1 to 899. Li Jing's eyes lit up at that time. The face of the fishmonger turned pale on the spot. He is just an ordinary person who can be compared. Swipe a fish monster the size of a car on his face, can he stay there? Seeing that the fish monster's soaring figure is about to fall over his head, the fishmonger is not to mention how desperate it is. This one can kill him. Is just when he is about to close his eyes in despair. Boom! The sound of thunder exploded. A thunder with thick arms came across the sky and hit the demonized fathead fish at an angle of 45 degrees. In the shocked eyes of the fishmonger, the angry thunder pierced the fish head and shot out from the tail like a rotten thunder, and disappeared about 50 meters above the vegetable market. Pack! The demonized fathead fish fell on the road beside him. An angry thunder bombarded, killed the fathead fish, and at the same time pushed its huge body out. Along with a refreshing smell of meat spreading, the fishmonger who survived the catastrophe regained his senses, stiffly looking at Li Jing, who raised his arm and palm with smoke. At the same time, a reminder sounded in Li Jing's ear. Experience plus 899. Raise level, 8. Spirit power increase plus 16, skill points plus 2. The female voice without emotion is very beautiful. However, at this moment, Li Jing was not happy. Under the thunder of his Dzogchen palm, fish demon, walking very peacefully. But at the same time, I want to be fully scorched. Was about to check, the fishmonger tremblingly gratefully said. Brother! I just misunderstood you. Fortunately, you are here, otherwise I will die in the sea. Li Jing heard the words and took a meal, waved his hand. You don't need to thank me. If you want to, thank you for the stinky tofu. It discovered the fish monster mutation in advance, otherwise I won't be able to save you in time. Smelly tofu? Yu Hai was stunned, and then realized that the stinky tofu in Li Jing's mouth was the husky beside him. Looked at the majestic surface, but the four legs were shaking with the tail between them, and he didn't know whether it was the stinky tofu that was frightened by thunder or by the fish monster, and Yu Hai spoke subconsciously. Brother dog, thanks. Woohoo! The stinky tofu howled, following Li Jing's appearance, raised a paw and swayed it, indicating a small meaning. Yu Hai was dumbfounded on the spot. He thanked him, purely because of the feeling that he had recovered his life. I didn't expect the stinky tofu to respond to him and behave so humanely. Spirit beast! Yu Hai rounded his eyes in disbelief. Just as he was surprised, the scattered vendors and customers gathered in the market. Seeing a car-sized fish monster lying on the aisle outside Jiao Linen, dead to death, everyone looked at Li Jing in awe, not daring to talk casually. The scene at this moment is no better than last night. The scene where the fathead fish demonized, few people saw it. But Li Jing raised his hand to shoot a thunder that instantly killed the fish monster, and many people saw it. How terrifying is that thick and strong thunder? Until now, they are still fascinated. Li Jing caught a glimpse of everyone gathering, one or two looked at him in surprise and fear, frowning slightly. In this world, everyone is equal on the surface. Actually respects cultivation. This point, he had already expected it when he first crossed over, but he had never really faced it. I'll face it, it's really uncomfortable to tell. The key point is that the people who are watching him purely like a monster. There is more fear than others. Shook his head secretly, Li Jing stepped forward. Boss you sell fish? Want to know the price of the fish monster? Can you help me see if this coke on the ground can sell for money? Yu Hai was shocked by the fact that stinky tofu is a spirit beast. He was slightly stunned. Raised his eyes to see Li Jing's serious look. He didn't dare to neglect, he looked back at the fish demon exuding the rich fragrance from the outer focus and the inner tender, showing a troubled look. The part of this fish monster body that is scorched by electricity will definitely not sell for the price. The fish inside depends on how much it is intact. However, even if it is intact, the whole fish can only be sold as cooked goods if it is cooked by electricity. There is no cooking value, and the price may not be much higher. While talking, he hesitated for a while, gritted his teeth. Brother, if you want to resell this fish monster, I can bid 300,000 yuan. You saved my life, and if I pay a little, I will lose a little. The right is to return your life-saving grace. 300,000. Li Jing's face is very ugly. The fish demon Jiao Cheng is like this, and it is estimated that it will not sell for much price, he expected. However, it is so cheap that it really hurts him. The fish demon not only has a thicker blood tank than yesterday's demon chicken, but also the latter's body shape. If this is intact, even if the price can't reach millions, it's probably not much difference. This wave, blood loss. Seeing Li Jing's expression gloomy in Yu Hai, he hurriedly spoke as he did not believe in himself. Brother, the price I give you is absolutely fair, and I never mean to cheat you. If you can't trust me, you can ask everyone present. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Li Jing shook his head. Don't get me wrong, boss, I didn't believe you, I just feel it is a pity. Pity? Yu Hai blinked, then nodded. This fish monster is indeed a pity. If the fish is not cooked by electric scorching, on the premise that it has cooking value, it can be sold in a larger hotel for at least 3 million. 3 million. Li Jing's eyes went dark, and his heartache was so painful that he couldn't breathe. The value of fish monster, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com, is twice as high as he expected. But I want to come too. Fish and chicken are different in the end. Chicken, no matter how special it is on the table, it is only a chicken. It's great to make an old soup, boil it in brown sauce or something. Cuisine is of limited value. The cooking method of fish is tricked by the chefs. Among the fishes, there are fish with sky-high prices that can sell for tens of millions. Is a fish monster more precious than all kinds of sky-high fish? The more Li Jing thinks about it, the more uncomfortable it is. Reluctantly squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying, Li Jing said. Boss, selling fish is just a small business, I can't ask you more. As for the life-saving grace, we don't care about it. In this way, if you transfer me 200,000 yuan and cut a few caddies of fish meat to me, I will transfer this fish monster to you. NS. What? Yu Hai was stunned. As soon as he sells fish, he encounters bargaining almost every day. But the reverse bargaining, he was really the first time I saw him. This fish monster can sell for about 250,000. Li Jing, a guy who cut 50,000 in reverse, didn't he make money instead? 50,000 is not a small number for him. After all, he only sells ordinary freshwater fish, and he may not make 50,000 yuan after selling it for a whole month. Li Jing didn't care so much, he reported to his bank account very simply. A blood loss of 2.8 million, he can't wait to go back in time. But thinking about how he can rise to the next level by just going out to buy a dish, he can still earn 200,000 yuan. He feels a lot of comfort. Maybe the price of 200,000 yuan, he will lose a little bit. He really wants to deal with it himself, he has no way to deal with it.